Have you guys ever worked for somebody and the attitude of your boss and the vibe that he gives off is one in which you're replaceable, or he can have somebody come in here tomorrow and do the same job that you're doing now for less money? It'll be easier on his payroll. Or the quote in which I've heard several times, not directed at me, but towards other people who are much less intelligent than I am, that I worked with. I could hire a trained monkey to come in here and do exactly what your job describes you to do. Sometimes bosses could be that evil and that disrespectful. The same can be said about a professional wrestler, depending on who you are, and a major wrestling promotion, in this case, WWE. Now, unless you're a John Cena, or I'm going to lump him in here because I would assume the mainstream or the fucking casual idiot, the unintelligent casual, thinks that Roman Reigns is some major star, even though ratings really don't show it, because whether he's there or not there, the ratings mean jack shit as far as Roman Reigns goes. He's not the big dog that everybody pretends that he really is, because if he was, then the ratings would be better than where they are right now. So shut your fucking mouth. I'm going to lump him in there anyway, because everybody's got this preconceived notion that he's the biggest guy in the WWE. No, he's not. He's not even in the same stratosphere as John Cena. Whether you're a John Cena, now I would assume everybody thinks it's Roman Reigns' yard, literally. Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Undertaker. I'm even going to put Bret the Hitman Hart in this category, Shawn Michaels. Guys of that status, guys of that nature. Those are make or break situations where if they leave, you're fucked. They are, without question, superstars through the annals of time that if you go somewhere, they are going to obviously affect in a major way your competition, and they are going to leave a lasting void that you will never fill in WWE. Apparently, Tony Atlas seems to think otherwise. Tony Atlas was quoted saying this week that WWE does not need Sasha Banks. I'm going to read you the quote because there are hints of, well, you know, he's right, but at the same time, there are hints of, is this guy fucking demented? We're not living in his day and age. We're living in 2019. And some of what he said is, yes, right, but also at the same time, most of what he said doesn't make any sense, especially when I think about it and when I kind of cut this up. And a lot of people came to me on social media, JD, what do you think about this Tony Atlas story? This could be a good cold open. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here. Because I found this to be just completely outlandish. Such a stupid fucking comment to make. What does this have to do with anything? Is what I'm wondering. Now, nobody knows what's going on with Sasha Banks. I don't know. Meltzer doesn't know. Brad Shepard doesn't know. That fucking clown Ryan Satin doesn't. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything about Sasha Banks. The only ones who know anything about Sasha Banks are Sasha Banks and her husband. That's it. And WWE. Nobody else. Nor is it any of our business what Sasha Banks does. The woman doesn't want to come back. She doesn't want to come back. I would not bat an eye as to why, that woman doesn't want to come back. It's her right. She doesn't want to come back for whatever reason. I respect that reason. I am fully in support of Sasha Banks for whatever reason. She's got plenty of reasons why she doesn't want to come back. All you need to do is watch the fucking program. I would be, fuck you, I'm not coming back just based on how they're booking the tag team titles. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay haven't won a goddamn fucking match since WrestleMania. Then I got people on social media, oh, well, they beat the Brooklyn Bombshells, or whatever the fuck they called. The Brooklyn Bombers. whatever that makeshift tag team was that they scooped up from the fucking local Petco in aisle 4 buying cat food. Sasha Banks and WWE, the relationship is something that we don't know, no matter how much has been reported. But according to sources, it's at a big stalemate right now. Now there's rumors that Sasha Banks is coming back because they advertised her or are planning to advertise her for Money in the Bank, which we'll talk about after the introduction. Now, clearly, WWE is not letting Sasha Banks out of her contract, so I'll get back to that in a second. WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, right? So if you don't need Sasha Banks, why don't you just let her walk? If you don't need Sasha Banks, if Sasha Banks is not important to you, if you have no reason for Sasha Banks to be there, or in this case, Tony Atlas says WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, then give her her walking papers. Let her walk into Jacksonville looking beautiful as ever. Hi, Mr. Khan. How are you this evening? Guarantee you a contract is already made up for that woman, and she's going to make more money than she's ever made in WWE. So, if they don't need Sasha Banks, let her walk. Instead of letting Sasha Banks out of her contract, WWE, which we'll talk about with Luke Harper as well, they froze his contract, or they froze the time he was away and added it on top of his existing contract. Now, they could do the same thing for Sasha Banks. And of course, Banks could hire an attorney, and WWE, obviously, nobody wants to get into a lawsuit with WWE. It's physically binding in her contract. It states that if there is time away for more than 6 weeks, that WWE has every given right in writing to add that time on top of your contract. It's fucked up. It's absolutely demonic. It's a good word to use. It's evil. But WWE goes about their business in this way. So Tony Atlas, obviously, he is one of those guys that's been around forever. He doesn't age. He looks great. Seen him on the Bruiser Brody documentary for that Dark Side of the Ring. Probably my favorite one so far. A lot of you guys wanted me to talk about that as well, but I really enjoyed him on that particular episode. Fucked up, but I enjoyed him on that episode. His story remained constant all throughout that entire episode. All through the years in which he was... I even went back and listened to some of the older sit-downs that he had about that particular story. His story remained unchanged. So I appreciated and respected the fuck out of Tony Atlas during that entire episode of Dark Side of the Ring. But that's neither here or there. We're talking about Sasha Banks. So Tony Atlas has been around. You guys know the deal, how long he's been around. He's provided some great suggestions about what could be next in his tricky situation when he's talking about Boston Wrestling, MWF. Because the way he sees it, WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks. It's actually the other way around. He says this, and I quote, "They never fire you on the spot. Yes, thank you for telling me what I already know, Mr. Atlas. You always get it at home. Just like CM Punk, who apparently was fired on his wedding day. That's why they say go home and think about it. Now, what they do... They have a meeting. Now, if she does, meaning she, Sasha Banks, does decide to come back, they're going to destroy her. Her career is over." So there you go. From the man himself, Tony Atlas. We all know this. WWE has Sasha Banks come back. They are going to punish her in a way that I think is going to be worse than we've ever seen. But that's just his notion of it. It's happened before in the past. This is why he says it here pertaining to Sasha Banks. Her career is over. Might be stretching it a little bit. I don't think her career is over. But yes, they will make an example out of her for someone who wants to think about doing exactly what Sasha Banks did the next time someone is disgruntled. They'll job her out. She lost all reliability because what she did is tell them, without saying directly, "You can't trust me." That's all she did. She let the wrestling world down, and not just the wrestling world. Everyone who is affiliated with the WWE is looking at it the same way. WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks needs the WWE. You know how many women right now are kissing up to Triple H, kissing up to Stephanie McMahon, and are saying, who are you going to put in that spot? She left a good spot. They're glad she's gone. Every woman there is glad Sasha is gone. She's gone. Vince is not going to let her do that. If Vince let her do that, this is what you got to understand. He just told every wrestler out there that you could do that. Man, this is exactly what I'm going to go when I talk about Luke Harper. But I want to concentrate on what he said there at the end. He said that, who are you going to put in that spot? They're glad that she's gone. Every woman there is glad she is gone. I want you to think about that for a second. I want you to think about what Tony Atlas said there. Every woman there is glad she's gone. Why is that? Why is every woman glad that Sasha Banks is gone? Spot taken up. That's a pretty high priority on the WWE women's ladder there in WWE. One of the greatest female performers in the world. In the biggest wrestling promotion in the world. She's leaving a void, clearly, that somebody obviously wants for themselves. But if you really dive deeper and dissect that line that Tony Atlas said a little bit more deeper, every woman is glad that she's gone. Now, I want you to take that and apply it to this. Why would everybody be happy that Sasha Banks is gone unless they're all out for themselves? Is everybody so keyed in on themselves and where they want their own career to go without giving a shit about the entirety of the women's revolution? Because you do know if Sasha Banks is not there, then the women's revolution in WWE, or the women's evolution, whatever the fuck we're calling it nowadays, some bullshit fucking agenda that WWE seemingly just continues to stray away from every fucking week. The women's movement in WWE, whatever the fuck you want to call it. If Sasha Banks is not there, a huge gap is missing in the overall grand scheme of what you're trying to tell. So if every woman is glad she's gone, how many of these women are for the actual movement that is women's wrestling? Zero. That means everybody is only out for themselves and only give a shit about their career without giving a shit about what the fucking movement really means. WWE clearly doesn't give a shit about the fucking movement. It seems like we're going in reverse. One minute women's matches on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live with the Iconics. If you think that is a women's movement, you are a fucking idiot. You are an idiot. So Tony Atlas is saying that that every woman is glad that Sasha Banks is gone? Yeah, we're gonna look at someone who's the flag bearer for this fucking shit. The reason why we're here right now. Yeah, I'm glad she's gone. She did it. Now I can reap the benefits and say fuck everybody else. That's a selfish fucking way of looking about it. That's terrible. That's terrible. He didn't say that on fucking purpose either. There was no stutter in his fucking speech. Same goes for when Charlotte wants to come out here and say, oh, I'm Charlotte Flair. Why do you deserve a title match? Oh, I'm Charlotte Flair. That's exactly how WWE looks at it. Oh, we don't have anybody else, but you do. But Charlotte Flair deserves a title match. Why? She's Charlotte Flair. Lacey Evans is getting a title match. Why is that? She's done nothing but parade around for 4 months and then beat Natty of all fucking people. That doesn't deserve a title shot. Yes, it does. She's Lacey Evans. She's got big tits, long legs, and she's blonde. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Vince is not going to let her walk out of her contract. Why the fuck would he? But at the same time, this idiot is saying, oh, WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks. Clearly they do, if they're not letting her go, if she's unhappy. They need Sasha Banks to not go to AEW. Because if she goes to AEW, you got a fucking problem. You just let the Ronda Rousey of that women's division just walk on in to Jacksonville, Florida. WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks? You bet your fucking ass they do. They don't need the ratings, which are going to be a thing that people are looking at, to get any closer, or in WWE's case, any lower. The non-existent ratings that exist with AEW right now. How many people that chime in, oh, ratings don't matter. How many of you fucking people are going to be looking at the fucking ratings when AEW moves to Tuesday nights? Every single one of you. And that gap, WWE does not want to be inch closer and closer and closer to where all of what you people are saying, oh, it's a glorified t-shirt company. There's no competition. No competition. WWE is signaling everything but that. You fucking kidding me? The fact that they pulled The Undertaker and Kurt Angle from StarCast signals competition. Getting back to Tony Atlas here. They'll never fire you on the spot, he says. Of course not. Depends on who you are. Unless you did something really fucked up. Fail a drug test 3 times. There are ways to get fired. That's why they say go home and think about it. Goes on to say her career is over. They'll job her out. Well, if you don't want this woman to sit at home anymore, the last thing on your mind better be to job her fucking out. We've seen enough of that on TV. We don't need to see that more with Sasha Banks. Yeah, but WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, though, but the rumors of her winning Money in the Bank, I'm sure, are exaggerated. They're going to lure her in somehow. Nothing but false promises. They'll give her something and then take it away just as fucking quick. They've done it for 4 years. Why do you think the woman right now is sitting home? WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks needs WWE. This is the last thing I'm going to mention on this shit. Sasha Banks doesn't need the WWE. You're acting as if she's a newbie in this business. Maybe 6-7 years ago she needed WWE. She certainly doesn't need WWE now. She's made her money. She's made her fame. She's made her brand. She'll go anywhere else and be much more successful than what she's doing right now. At least wherever she goes, they'll treat her like Sasha Banks, unlike WWE. Sasha Banks doesn't need WWE. WWE doesn't even need Sasha Banks. How many women down in NXT they got? They could make into the next Sasha Banks. They don't need Sasha Banks. Realistically, if you want to look at it from a talent perspective, but as far as a brand ambassador and someone who they've put on this pedestal already throughout the years of this women's movement, they certainly need Sasha Banks. But to say Sasha Banks needs the WWE, how fucking ridiculous and stupid do you sound? This isn't Mercedes 7-8 years ago breaking into their fucking business trying to get a job with the WWE. This ain't that woman. This is Sasha fucking Banks. WWE needs Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks doesn't need the WWE anymore. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous to look at. She can make her money. More people right now are making just as much, if not more, away from WWE. That clearly is a fact and a reason why so many people are moving on from the WWE, and the honeymoon with the WWE being the only place that you could go to be successful in pro wrestling is coming to an end slowly but surely. Sasha Banks doesn't need the WWE for anything. You don't think she's going to get that much love plus... Listen, if she goes to AEW, she's going to get everything she's got in WWE plus some. All she's getting right now from WWE is a paycheck with no respect. She goes on to AEW, she's going to get a paycheck with respect, and she's going to get a wrestling career that people fucking respect and appreciate, and she's going to be booked creatively to satisfy her fucking heart. A heart in this business that all she wants to do is fucking wrestle and prove to everybody how much this business means to her. She can't get that in WWE. So again, I ask you, why does she need the WWE? Because she ain't getting half of that from WWE right now. Everybody looks at everything monetarily. Fuck that. Tired of this shit. Oh, she's not going to be a big name outside WWE. She's not going to make more money than she does in WWE. It's bullshit. You're an apologist. The company is fucking failing creatively on TV, and you want to sit there and tell me that what they're doing is right. There's a reason why she went home. It's not because she ain't satisfied with the money she's making. She's not satisfied here. This is a fucking stupid comment. He contradicts himself, like everybody says I contradict myself. But I don't. WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, so let her fucking go! They don't need Sasha Banks. Of course they fucking need Sasha Banks. You just want to have her so she don't go anywhere else. It's the other way around. Sasha doesn't need the WWE anymore. You did what you needed to do with her. She gave right back. She don't need it. Fuck it. Just like Tom Glavine left the Braves, I was fucking heartbroken. They didn't need him anymore. He was aging. He didn't do anything with the Mets. He made his name with the Braves. He goes over there, who gives a shit? Fucking ridiculous. You got nothing for Sasha Banks. You want to creatively fuck her over every single year. Let her go. You're proving to me that you don't need her by the way she's been booked. But here we got Tony Atlas. Sasha Banks needs WWE. As if the woman... Not only on what I've already stated to you. This is Tony Atlas straight disrespecting Sasha Banks as if she's never going to succeed anywhere else but the WWE. This is the mentality of a Billy Graham right here, who went on a rant about Kofi Kingston not being heavyweight championship material. He's pretty much saying Sasha Banks needs the WWE because she's not good enough to succeed anywhere else. Are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely ridiculous. If you believe this fucking clown, you got issues. You got issues. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not saying that this statement or the generalization of this statement is not right. It's not right in this context. Okay? If you're looking at a Fandango, for example, who's ready to return, where is he? Only God knows. If you're looking at that, or if you want to take someone who was just recently let go, Hideo Itami, or Ty Dillinger. WWE doesn't need Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger needed WWE or Hideo Itami. Even in that case, it's not even a realistic fucking quote. Because nobody needs WWE, especially now, maybe fucking 10, 15 years ago, but not now. Anybody that is under lock and key in WWE doesn't need WWE. They've already been given the push by the machine. They've showcased their talent in one way or the other. Anybody that leaves that company is going to be better off for it in the end because you've done it. You wrestled for WWE. You were at your WrestleMania. You got your WrestleMania moment. Now they're going to take that and build upon that and make themselves just as much, if not more money, and be treated fucking better than ever anywhere else. You know? A Kurt Hawkins. WWE doesn't need a Kurt Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins needs a WWE. In some instances, a Dana Brooke. WWE doesn't need Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke certainly needs the WWE. That's when that type of statement means something. In this case, it means absolutely nothing and holds no validity whatsoever. So Tony Atlas made himself look like a big fucking idiot during this entire thing. Sasha Banks doesn't need the WWE. I hope you all realize that. Because what's going to happen if she remains there? Nothing. How many times have I told you in the last 2 weeks? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Everything is nothing more than a mirage with this company. You think something's going to happen for the better, and nothing ever appears. It's nothing. It's a figment of your imagination. This woman's going to be lured back with money in the bank fucking aspirations, and then she'll be the first woman to fail a cash-in. That's how WWE operates. She doesn't need WWE. The one thing that this woman needs is to move as far away from WWE as humanly possible. Believe me. This is Off the Script, episode 271, part number 3, man. You think that's it? I got much more to go over, including more Sasha Banks news on Luke Harper and what WWE did to him to fuck him over, why WWE didn't want to release Goldust to go to AEW, and I got news on Money in the Bank. The women's matches are spoiled, and there's an advertisement out for a third Money in the Bank ladder match. Who's that include, and what the fuck is it for? Right here on Off the Script, episode 271, part number 3. We'll talk about it after the intro. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
This is mine.
Thank you guys so much for joining me here on Off the Script. This is episode 271, part number 3, for your Sunday/Monday, April 29th, 2019. If you guys missed anything that I uploaded this weekend, man, I would highly recommend you go and check it out. We got Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, and then Off the Script Extra, as usual, weekly. This is what I do. But part 1, we went over WWE corporate and company sponsors wanted to end Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse before it even started. On part 2, we talk about Becky 2 belts is going to be Becky no belts at the end of Money in the Bank. We went over the reasons why WWE has an issue with this thing called overexposure. They don't understand. The more you expose, the less we care. Apparently, WWE doesn't get that. It doesn't register for whatever reason. And I have a big problem with it. I really have a big problem with it. And WWE ain't doing Becky no fucking favors anyway. Like I said, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Adam Cole's got a big problem. Bro, Adam Cole, bro. He's got a big problem in Matt Riddle, bro. Adam Cole, bro. He's a vanilla midget. I put him next to the Bret Harts and the Stone Cold, Steve Austins, and the Rocks, and the Undertakers, bro. He looks like a vanilla midget, bro. The Undisputed Era, bro. There's my shitty Vince Russo. Go check out the fucking videos, will you? Make me happy, you fucking goons. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for all that. If you guys want to support, not only by liking a video, JD's Elite. You know I'm fucking in some mood. I'm in some mood today, so you're going to get a damn good fucking video, man. JD's Elite. Right here, bonfire.com. Link down below. Go get your t-shirts. The number one selling t-shirt, not only for this fucking podcast, but I'm sure in 2019, the number one selling t-shirt in all the YWC. That is the YouTube wrestling community. Bonfire.com. Link is down in the description of this very video. Go and get yours today. No questions asked. Follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206 on both the Twitter and the Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Hit the bell anyway. Get notified and become a part of my elite. Thank you guys so very much. If you guys want to support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. It is completely optional, just like it is optional to watch Monday Night Raw every fucking week. And for the people who say, oh, why do you still watch it? Because it's my fucking job, you asshole. That's the reason. You don't have to watch it. I do. And I come on here, and you watch me. That's how the world works here in the community. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Why does anybody do anything, man? Why do you watch Monday Night Raw? Why do you complain about why I complain about Monday Night Raw? It's because this is what we do. Why do I love Harry's? Because I need a goddamn good shave. That's why. Harrys.com/scripts. Join the 10 million plus. It's a lot more than Monday Night Raw. That's actually 6 times the amount of Monday Night Raw on a weekly basis. Join the 10 million plus who have tried Harry's and claim your offer today. by going to harrys.com/script. Now, what Harry's? Harry's founders were tired of paying for razors that were overpriced, overdesigned. They knew a great shave didn't come from gimmicks like vibrating heads, flex balls, or handles that look like spaceships. These are tactics that the leading brands have used to raise prices of these products for decades. Harry's fixed all that. They combined a simple, clean design with quality, durable blades and a fair price to go along with all of that. They actually bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making quality blades for over 95 years. They've also received 20,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google alone. That in itself is amazing. Harry's replacement cartridges are just $2 each, and that's half the price of a Gillette Fusion Pro Shield. And the best part of all Harry's blades come with a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know, and they will issue you a full refund. $13 value trial set is yours with the following: a razor handle, choice of color is yours, orange, the navy blue, or the evergreen. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel. Travel blade cover as well if you're a man on the go. If you're staying over your girl's house, if you're traveling for business, or if you're a regular guy like me who likes it to look nice on your bathroom sink. Either way, the travel cover is clutch. Listeners of my show can redeem their trial set by going to harrys.com/script. Make sure you support the show by going to harrys.com/script and tell them that JD from Off the Script sent you. harrys.com/script. Want to start off talking about money in the bank. I got money in the bank. I don't know about you guys. WWE apparently has money in the bank too, but that doesn't mean their programs are of top-notch quality. They can have all the money in the world. Their product is still fucking terrible. We all know this. But Money in the Bank typically is my favorite, one of my favorites. I would say the Royal Rumble, even though it hasn't been the same in many, many, many years. The Money in the Bank pay-per-view is something that I think we all look forward to. It's easy for WWE to get people excited about it because who doesn't love fucking ladder matches? And I've been on record saying this weekend that with the Ricochets and the Aleister Blacks and the Andrade Cien Almases of the world, this year's match could potentially be the greatest Money in the Bank ladder match that we have ever seen. Now, apparently, Monday Night Raw will reveal via the Alexa Bliss Moment of Piss segment, because that's what she does. She's just awful. Women's Money in the Bank participants revealed. Men's Money in the Bank participants revealed. Apparently, Alexa Bliss was going to go out there and reveal both men's and women's Money in the Bank participants. So, who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, I mean, Monday Night Raw usually spoils our mood anyway. So in actuality, I'm doing you a favor. But graphics have been revealed, apparently. Commercials have been noticed. And the participants for these matches, both men's and women's, have been revealed. Now, Alexa Bliss, like I mentioned, plans on announcing the Money in the Bank ladder match participants on a Moment of Piss during Monday Night Raw. And advertisements has started to run locally, promoting 8 women this year in the Money in the Bank ladder match. This is interesting because the men's, which I'll get to, is only 7. So according to this advertisement, this is a match that includes Naomi. Okay. Bayley. Gotcha. Carmella. All right. Ember Moon. My pick. Sonya Deville. Tamina Snuka. I don't understand that. I really don't. You're going to have Tamina Snuka over a Ruby Riott on Monday Night Raw? I'm speechless. I'm absolutely fucking speechless. I hope to God that this changes between now and when we watch Monday Night Raw. Tamina fucking Snuka over Ruby Riott. Natalya and Sasha Banks are going to be in the match. Now, before I move on, Sasha Banks is apparently in the advertisement. I don't know how true this is, Sasha Banks, I have been told, is very upset. There is no sign of her coming back unless WWE's keeping this under wraps. Why this woman would want to come back anyway is a mystery to me. So if Sasha is announced on the advertisement, but doesn't show up on Monday Night Raw, which she is still a part of, they could obviously replace her with Ruby Riott. So we'll wait to see what happens with that. But Tamina Snuka, even though she is on Raw, I would replace her with a Mandy Rose. Now, it's probably not going to make any difference. This is not a one-on-one match. This is a ladder match. It's a fucking car wreck. It's a train crash. So Tamina, being there, she's nothing but a... What's the right word? She's nothing but a casualty. She's nothing but a buffer. She's a woman to fill a slot. That means nothing. On top of the Ember Moons and the Baileys and the, Sonya Deville's of the world. She could use a nice push. But Tamina Snuka's just there for the sake of filling a fucking spot. So this is interesting. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Mandy Rose, I don't know why WWE would want Mandy Rose out of this match. I'm guessing that they have too many blondes right now filling top spots on Raw and SmackDown, so a third blonde would make things too obvious on top of the already obvious. I don't know. That's just a feeling I get. But the one thing that I am really upset with is that Ruby Riott is not in this match, yet she's probably one of the best females that you have on the entire roster. Really, really mind-boggling to me. So we'll see what happens. WWE can change these plans. Maybe this was a graphic that was just sent out to advertisers to hype the match. Maybe this happened before Sasha Banks went away. I don't know. I don't know why anything is done nowadays, but I'm just trying to piece this together. If Sasha Banks doesn't come back, WWE could easily slip in Ruby Riott there, and all will be well, being that they're on the same brand. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how much of this actually is legit come Monday Night Raw. Now, the men have an ad featuring 7. Sometimes it was 6. WWE has had Money in the Bank ladder matches featuring 6, 7, 8 men. I don't know when the last time they featured 7 men was, but I think Sheamus, when he won Money in the Bank, that match had 7. I don't remember what year, 2013, 2014, somewhere along those lines. I'm terrible with fucking numbers. But WWE has an advertisement out with 7 men slated for the Money in the Bank ladder match on May 19th. That is my dad's birthday, actually. So maybe he'll be watching to close out his birthday festivities on May 19th. So WWE has Drew McIntyre, Cesaro, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Aleister Black, Andrade, Cien Almas. I don't know who this Andrade is. Andrade Cien Almas and Lars Sullivan featured in this ad. Sounds like a fucking NXT ladder match. Can't be something that WWE fucks up. I've been wrong on that. I wouldn't hype myself up too much, being that this is main roster WWE, and everything that they usually do kills the coolness of NXT. Just look at the fucking War Raiders. It is interesting that they would go with these guys, but obviously WWE has plans for at least one of them. Now, I don't think Lars Sullivan is going to be catapulted into WWE Championship material yet. I don't think that Ricochet is going to be catapulted into world title contention. Neither Rey Mysterio or Cesaro. So, my top 3 here are Andrade, Drew McIntyre, and a black horse of Aleister Black. That's what I'm going with. Now, my favorite of all is Andrade. But I could obviously see Drew McIntyre winning this thing. I could see WWE giving Drew McIntyre the nod here in this match because they have fucked him up so much since November that the guy has had absolutely zero momentum after hearing about the reports of this guy's going to be the guy on Monday Night Raw. Nothing. I could certainly see WWE giving Drew McIntyre the win. But on the other hand, I could also see Andrade getting the win here, and I would love to see, and I could picture it beautifully like a fucking, like a painting that's sitting in the fucking museum behind a huge glass fucking protective case that's worth millions and millions of dollars. I could see it just fucking beautifully painted. I could see Zelina Vega holding that fucking briefcase, and when they do this shit, hold up the briefcase. You know, when they do that fucking that arm gesture that they do, I could see that. Tranquilo with the fucking briefcase. I could certainly see that as well. He's my pick. And we'll see what happens. But there is actually a third Money in the Bank ladder match being advertised. Now, I don't know what this is for. Maybe WWE is going to kind of bleed this into an NXT takeover at some point. I don't see this happening on the main roster. If it does, fingers crossed, because it would only make the show that much better. There were advertisements for an NXT ladder match at Money in the Bank. I was going to say takeover. Money in the Bank. I don't know what the winner would get. Maybe they would get a briefcase for the NXT title. Maybe this is WWE's way of saying, well, Money in the Bank was usually correlated, especially last year, with an NXT takeover, and being that the Saudi show is fucking everything up, WWE now has a takeover standalone show in San Jose that is rumored to be pushed back because of the Saudi show, because of travel issues. So WWE has this standalone takeover show. So to make good with the movement of the pay-per-views, especially Money in the Bank, which was in June, now it's in May. You know, we're not getting a takeover event with this like we usually would get in June. Maybe WWE's trying to make good and give us an NXT flavor with this Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We have Keith Lee, we have Jackson Ryker, Matt Riddle, Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, Tyler Breeze, and Dominic Dijakovic in an NXT ladder match. Now, I don't know how true this is. We'll have to wait and see. But there was a graphic. This could have been doctored up by some fucking idiot on social media. I don't know. But this was a part of the local advertisements for the other two ladder matches. And it included an NXT. It looks very similar to the other ones. You can find it floating around on social media. I don't know what this means, but if that is the case, I certainly hope so. Now, 3 ladder matches might seem like, and I just mentioned this with Becky Lynch, overexposure. You're doing too much of a certain something, and people might not take to it, you know, but if WWE pieces this show together, this one could certainly open the show. Then you put the women on in the middle, and then you put the men's on last. That's the way I would do it. Or if you want to put AJ Styles on last with Seth Rollins and then do the ladder match before, so that there could possibly be a cash-in on that match. Either way you want to do it, space them out enough, even though 3 might seem like it's overdone and there's some overexposure there. I think an NXT ladder match would be great, especially on the main roster for all you fucking detractors out there who want to say NXT is garbage and it's not interesting. There's nothing but vanilla midgets in NXT. It's only catering to a niche crowd. You see this match, you're not going to want to see the other fucking ladder matches because this is how great this match could be. I think this is fantastic, especially getting Keith Lee out there, him exposed to the WWE audience, giving Tyler Breeze something to do. I don't know if this is an indication that Tyler Breeze is going to be in NXT for the foreseeable future, that he's paired with these guys. I certainly hope so. He would be thrilled with that, I'm sure. Pete Dunne, he has no reason to be in NXT UK anymore. I think that would be great. Adam Cole, this would be a great way for him to get back into title contention against Johnny Gargano. Possible cash, and I could see Adam Cole, no question, winning a briefcase and stealing one from Johnny Gargano. This makes perfect sense. Matt Riddle in the match, Jackson Ryker. He's like the Tamina Snuka of NXT. He's just there. He fills a hole. But I think this would be great. Let me know what you guys think about that. Maybe we'll get this announced in the coming weeks, whether it's on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. I'm hoping it's true, man. So we'll see what happens with that. But those are your Money in the Bank ladder matches, especially for the men and the women. And if this is true with the NXT version, I'm all for it. You got my seal of approval on that. Sticking with the SmackDown brand, we got a lot of SmackDown news here. WWE, they jumped the gun on Kevin Owens' heel turn. Now, we all knew this was coming on Tuesday. It didn't take a fucking mathematician or a brilliant chemist or scientist to figure this one out. Kevin Owens clearly was going to turn heel. We just didn't know when. It had to. If it wasn't this past Tuesday, it was definitely going to be next week because WWE has built up nobody for Kofi Kingston. So why did WWE jump the gun on Kevin Owens' heel turn? Well, Dave Meltzer explained this on the Wrestling Observer Live. He mentioned that WWE made the decision to turn Owens so quickly because if they didn't, common logic, Kofi Kingston would find himself in a situation where he is champion and no opponent. Simple. This is what he says, and I quote, "Here's the thing, though. Every week they don't do it, they've got nothing for Kofi. So I think they just wanted something for Kofi because Kofi would be out there twiddling his thumbs until he's got an opponent. So I think one of the reasons why is he had no opponent, and they figured, let's just do it right away." There you go. Now, Kevin Owens is going to be in line for the WWE title at Money in the Bank. I could certainly see WWE dropping the title to Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank, which would fall in line with what a lot of people, not only me, fall in line with what a lot of people are claiming is going to be the case. Token title run, he got his WrestleMania moment, give it right back to the heel and have Kofi chase. Big E's going to come on back. He's already been threatening Kevin Owens on social media. When he comes back, he's going to get his hands around his throat. It's going to be one of those situations where the heel, especially Kevin Owens being the heel he can be, being the one who turned on the New Day and really fucked over everything having to do with Kofi Kingston's title run. I could certainly see that being the case. Now, I don't think Kofi's going to win the title back if he loses it, but I could see them dropping the title to Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank. What I hope WWE doesn't do, and I thought about this before I actually hit record. I actually thought about this seeing the ratings dip for SmackDown Live when we talked about it on part 1 in that fucking heated rant in the beginning. Monday Night Raw was down 14% from last year this same time. SmackDown Live was down 13% this year compared to last year. What I hope WWE doesn't do is blame everything on Kofi Kingston. Well, SmackDown's ratings have to do with Kofi's chase. They just didn't care and they didn't come out in full force. They didn't come out in the numbers and nobody gave a shit about Kofi Kingston in the end. And all he was worth was a WrestleMania moment, and we're going to take the title off him because people aren't watching the show to see him as champion. That's not Kofi Kingston's fault. This is well beyond anybody's fault. Well beyond anybody's fault. It's not Kofi's fault for all the detractors out there, even though Becky, I feel, is losing some steam. I wouldn't say she's completely steamless, but she's definitely, there's just something missing there. It's WWE's fault. You know, no matter what they say is the reason, I hope that WWE doesn't cite Kofi Kingston and or Becky Lynch as the reasons why the ratings are failing. This goes well beyond anything that they've been doing. This is a fucking major problem that's lasted for years. People are just not watching. It's not Kofi's fault. It's not Becky's fault. It's WWE's fault. It's WWE's fault. They're not providing quality television. People are going to go find something that is much more entertaining to them. And they're hoping that WWE comes back because they're there. WWE is not providing quality television. We all know this. If WWE was providing quality television, then the ratings would reflect that. Nobody gives a shit. Monday Night Raw has been the same fucking show every single week since the fucking brand split in 2016. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Faces change, but the same show every single week. Michael Cole and this one and that one, the way it's shot, the fucking music, the way the show is programmed and fucking formatted. Everything is the same. I don't know if you guys remember SmackDown Live when they were the actual A show until WWE gave Jinder the fucking title. They had different camera angles. It was a fresh take on Monday Night Raw. It was just shot differently. It felt differently. They got the great new graphics. They got the stats right there. They got them away for all that. They don't do that anymore for whatever reason. It's like someone in WWE was like, no. You're doing something that is outshining Raw. You got to go back to the way Raw does it. Can't have it look better than Raw. Why aren't people watching? Because WWE, after 25 fucking years, has done nothing to change Monday Night Raw. It's not Kofi's fault. It's not Becky's fault. It's WWE's fault because they're living in their own fucking time warp and they don't know the business and the change that is happening around them. They need to get with the fucking program. Kevin Owens, I could certainly see taking the title from Kofi Kingston. And WWE will cite, well, the ratings are falling, nobody's watching Kofi, so we'll give the title to Kevin Owens. And it's not Kofi's fault. It's not Kofi's fault whatsoever. But they needed to do the heel turn. Because if they didn't, then everybody else that is a champion had matches outside of the man who had the greatest moment at WrestleMania. Made a big deal about it, now you can't find a fucking challenger for him. You had to do it. No matter how lame it was, it got the job done. We got heel Kevin Owens back. That's all I give a shit about. Now, whether he takes the title or not remains to be seen, but I can certainly see that happening at Money in the Bank. Now, Kofi Kingston's original opponent for Money in the Bank, says Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they noted that KO was not slated to turn heel so quickly. In fact, Daniel Bryan was supposed to get a rematch for the WWE title at Money in the Bank, but that obviously couldn't happen right now. I don't know how likely that is, because with Saudi Arabia coming up, I don't think Daniel Bryan, if he was quote-unquote healthy, would have won the title back now anyway, and then take it to Saudi Arabia. I don't know how that would have resulted, but WWE could have forced a fucked finish there, have Kofi take the title into Saudi Arabia, defend it against KO there, and then Bryan win it back after they come back from Saudi Arabia. So I don't know how likely this is, because if Daniel Bryan didn't want to go over there first time, I don't think he's going to want to go right back there the next venture over there. So I don't know how likely or true this report is from the Observer. In fact, the Kevin Owens match is something that I'm actually a little bit more interested in, because we've seen Daniel and Kofi a lot leading up through WrestleMania. You know, have Bryan come back. I believe he's advertised for SmackDown Live. I don't know how likely that is. WWE's been very close to the vest with his injury. But I actually like Kevin Owens versus Kofi Kingston. It's a fresh match, and it's exactly what we need per the shakeup. Fresh matchups. I didn't want them to immediately go back and give us two matches already that we've seen at WrestleMania. You got Becky and Charlotte, and then you got Kofi and Daniel Bryan. That doesn't really signify shakeup to me, or fresh. Plus, rematch clauses don't exist. So why would Daniel Bryan get a rematch if they did away with the old antiquated rematch clause, or them getting a rematch? Again, it's like WWE forgot what they stated 4 or 5 months ago. Wasn't that long ago. So I don't know how true this is, but apparently Kofi Kingston's original opponent was Daniel Bryan. Now, speaking of Daniel Bryan, why Daniel Bryan has been missing time from WWE television. Well, Brad Shepard discussed on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that he can't go into much detail, but he was able to squash the rumor that something is wrong with the former WWE champion's head issues. He says this, and I quote, "So you may have heard the report that Daniel Bryan has an injury. He hasn't been on TV. This situation is intentionally being kept very quiet for a specific person's interest. And unfortunately, I can't go into any further detail except to say that he's injured. It's not his head. It's not overly serious, but it's bad enough for him to take some time off." We'll leave it at that. As long as it's not his head, this is what Brad Shepard says. He's got sources. So for that to be said and out there in the general public on the news feed, I think should calm everybody down. Because if it was his head, then I would honestly be fucking upset. Because the man has done brilliant work. The work that he's done is absolutely needed on WWE television. You don't have anyone like that to be a fucking heel. I said this from day one. You know, everybody wants to give praise to Kofi. Great. You can give praise to Kofi. He's been there for 11 years. But you need a Joker to Batman. You need a Red Sox to a Yankees. You need that villain hero type mentality. And Daniel Bryan fit that billing absolutely perfectly. You know, Bryan had Triple H. Bryan had the Authority. Bryan had fucking Evolution. That's what made everything so much fucking grandiose in the end. It made it so much more fucking sweeter in the end. He overcame the fucking evil empire, you know? But with Kofi Kingston, everybody's too quick to praise Kofi, which is great. But I don't want you to forget the fact that the reason why Kofi Kingston's victory was so sweet was because you had Daniel Bryan and Vince McMahon as that little fucking, sprinkle topping. He was there. Daniel Bryan was the focus of being that fucking great antagonist. Vince McMahon added the fucking sprinkles and the hot fudge to your fucking ice cream sundae. So you had those villains, which ultimately led Kofi Kingston's win to be that much sweeter. Daniel Bryan is a rarity in this business. SmackDown Live, Monday Night Raw needs a fucking heel desperately, but heels in general are just missing. They usually come off in this cool, cocky way where you cheer them and you can't really boo them. I know better, you know better. I think Daniel Bryan's great at what he does. I'm more apt to go for the heels just because I respect what they do and I know, that it's not really, oh my God, I should boo this guy. I fucking hate him. But you and I know, but the casual audience, they take the Daniel Bryan and they vilify this guy, rightfully so, because that's what he's portraying. And it's great. And everybody that he's in the ring with, babyface-wise, is going to be that much better off in the end for it, because of how great he is. So if he's out and it's not his head, I am okay with it. Because when he comes back, it's just going to be, oh yeah, he's back. I hope that it wasn't his head and this comes to the end of his career. And it's odd that it falls in the same fucking time frame of when he was out the last couple of times he was out. So right after WrestleMania, it's like this guy's got a fucking hex on him. So I'm hoping that this report from Brad Shepard is 100% legit and it's not his head. And for whatever reason, it's none of our business why he's out. Maybe it's something that is very private and doesn't want out there. Maybe it's that person's specific request is Brie Bella. I don't know. But whatever the case is, as long as it's not his head and he does come back and he's a very integral part of SmackDown Live, because I honestly believe, and you guys should think too, with Daniel Bryan playing the role that he has been playing, especially with Kofi, imagine that with a Roman Reigns. WWE could actually see this thing. I don't know if it's going to work. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Maybe Daniel Bryan is that good enough to get Roman to a point where people legitimately cheer him. It's an interesting dynamic that I would love to see. And that would go to show you how damn good Daniel Bryan is. If he could get Roman Reigns over by the end of the night, man, give that man a fucking pay raise on top of what you already fucking extended his contract to. Moving on. Vince McMahon, speaking of WWE contracts, Vince McMahon did not want to let Goldust, no matter what you heard, he didn't want to let Goldust out of his WWE contract. Now, Goldust was in the WWE since 1995. Now he finds himself on the alumni page once again. And he's headed towards Jacksonville to work with brother Cody at Double or Nothing for All Elite Wrestling. Most fans seen this coming, but it almost didn't happen. As it turns out, Vince McMahon was set on letting Dustin Runnels out of his contract, but Triple H stepped in and reasoned with Vince McMahon, and this was a report by Meltzer and The Observer. Runnels asked for his notice from WWE on January 19th, and they gave it to him. But he was given 90 days as far as a non-compete goes, which ended on 4/19. From WWE side, Vince McMahon was said to be against it, but Paul Levesque, Triple H, talked him into allowing Runnels to leave. Losing Goldust might not be that big of a shot for WWE to take, but it very well could help out AEW in a variety of ways. Dustin Rhodes can now perform in the ring with his brother. He is still at an age in which he can still go and still has a lot to offer, even though he is 50. But he had 2 repaired knees, and he probably wants to go out riding off into the sunset on his own terms. And there's no better way to do that than with AEW, with a promotion that his brother is going to be heavily invested in, and against his brother in the ring, which could ultimately be his last match. Rhodes will also be able to serve for AEW in a backstage role when he is not working in the ring. Only time will tell if Dustin Rhodes will end up in a backstage role with AEW. But if it wasn't for Triple H, he would still be waiting out his contract and forced to miss Double or Nothing. It's very interesting that the Observer noted that Triple H convinced Vince McMahon to let him out of his contract. I find that to be very interesting. I don't know the reason for that. I'm not going to speculate on it. But Vince McMahon wanted him to not go anywhere for the reasons of, well, you're just going to go join your brother in AEW. Triple H obviously didn't give a shit for whatever reason. And they let Cody out of his contract, which you look back at it, is the biggest fucking mistake they've ever made. You know? One of the biggest mistakes recently that they've ever made. But I don't know what that signifies. I really can't put a finger on it. You know, Goldust to them wasn't anything. I don't understand that. So Triple H is probably thinking, well, let him go. Let him go. His contract's running out. He's not going to... We haven't used him. We have not... It's dead weight. It's dead weight. It's like that weed that you want to pull up because it's a fucking eyesore when you're walking on your porch backstage or in your backyard. Just pull it out, let it go. Throw it away. I don't understand this wanting to keep this talent on the roster for no reason, to pay them for no reason. This is Vince McMahon's mentality. I understand Vince's mentality here. Well, he doesn't want to... The only reason why Vince McMahon... There's two reasons why Vince McMahon didn't want to let him go. A, to miss Double or Nothing. And B, he doesn't want to give out the perception of letting people out of their contract when they ask for it because it's not a good look. You know, you do it for one, you got to do it for everybody else. Vince doesn't want everybody to think, well, if he's asking for it, if that guy's asking for it, if he's asking for it, you know, that they're going to get it. So that's Vince's mentality. He doesn't want to give off the perception that, you know, people are asking for their contract because they're unhappy. Triple H is like, we haven't used him. What is the fucking point? Let him go. Who gives a shit what he does? So, I don't know. Vince didn't want to let Goldust out of his contract. He's out of his contract. He's booked for Double or Nothing. It is Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes, brother versus brother. The significance of this match for the fucking cretins on social media who are like, oh, but you got a 50-year-old Goldust. That's not the reason why this match is happening. I'm not looking at it. Anybody with a fucking brain is not looking at it through the eyes of, oh, it's a 50-year-old Goldust. This is much more than fucking Goldust and Stardust. This is Cody as his own man, a businessman in a business venture, running a professional wrestling company that will not directly compete with WWE, but will be competing with WWE. He's in the ring because he's obviously a executive vice president plus talent, and he's got his brother in the company. Their first major pay-per-view with All Elite Wrestling. The logo, the brand, everything. It's their first show ever. Now, for Cody to be indirectly competing with WWE, running his own company with the backing of Tony Khan and his friends, being in the ring with his brother, Dustin, you don't think this has more to do with Dusty, their father, than anything else? This isn't brother versus brother. This isn't Goldust versus Stardust, 50 years old, against Cody. No, this is nothing along those lines. This is Dusty Rhodes looking down. They're paying homage to their fucking father. It has nothing to do with anything else. The reason the match is booked is because they wanted to have it at WrestleMania. Vince didn't want to do it. They got it now. No handcuffs, no time constraints. They get all the time in the world to tell the story they want to tell to pay homage to their fucking father. If you think anything otherwise, you're a blithering fucking idiot. If you want AEW to fail, you're a blithering fucking idiot. Simple as that. I will not say it again. Moving on. Luke Harper. Before we get into the Luke Harper situation. You are a blithering fucking idiot. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. You're an idiot if you don't take advantage of audibletrial.com/off the script. Not really the kind of segue I wanted, but I guess it worked. audibletrial.com/off the script. Listen, in all honesty, coming back down a little bit, This is a great deal. Great deal. You're getting 30 days free of Audible just for listening to the show. As a thank you for signing up, Audible's giving you a free audiobook of your choice, no matter what. audibletrial.com/offthescript. This is what you're going to do. Download the app. iPhone or Android devices. Works both ways. App is free. You're going to go through the sign-up process on audibletrial.com/offthescript. You're going to enter in your billing information. You will not be billed, by the way. Then you got 30 days free of Audible. Then you're going to go choose your audiobook. Over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are sports and wrestling related. And you got something for free just for listening to the show. The best part of it all is if you feel Audible's not for you, you can cancel at any time. On day 1 or day 30, you can cancel at any time in the 30 days and keep your audiobook for free. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Go and do it. Support Off the Script. Man, looking back on it as we finish up Off the Script here for Monday/Sunday, I'm actually glad I recorded some of this on Sunday and then the rest of it on Monday morning. Because now you guys got the full spectrum of news for the week. And I don't have to cover my ass when Monday Night Raw hits us tonight. Now, we talked about the Money in the Bank situation with the men's and women's Money in the Bank participants being leaked ahead of Monday Night Raw, where Alexa Bliss is going to announce them on a Moment of Piss tonight on Raw. I woke up this morning and WrestleVotes is actually reporting that the men's Money in the Bank advertisement for the men's participants is actually false. There is an advertisement going around that reveals 7 men, one of them being Rey Mysterio. And as of Monday morning, WrestleVotes, who have broken some news in the past, and they're somewhat credible. They don't get everything right, but they're still an entertaining account to follow on Twitter. WrestleVotes is actually killing this rumor on the leaked Money in the Bank ladder match participants for the men's side. Rey Mysterio is announced in this advertisement, and they alerted everybody today, WrestleVotes, that Rey Mysterio won't even be available on May 19th to compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match because he already has a gig at the Motor City Comic-Con convention in Michigan. Therefore, he'll likely not be at Money in the Bank, and he won't be able to make the show. So they say this, and I quote, "So those leaked Money in the Bank graphics, the men's ladder one, is false. Rey Mysterio is scheduled to be appearing at the Motor City Comic-Con on 5/19 in Michigan. Tickets are still on sale for his appearance at $50 unless they pull him last minute. He won't be in Hartford, Connecticut for Money in the Bank." End quote. This means nothing to me. I honestly think that WWE could easily pull Rey Mysterio and, in exchange, put someone else in his place. It's not that big of a deal. They just did it with Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa was supposed to be in Philadelphia right before TakeOver New York to do an autograph signing. They pulled him. Now, Rey Mysterio's not hurt like Tommaso Ciampa was, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I believe Ricochet was a part of that as well, and they pulled Ricochet because of his main roster affiliation. Either way, I believe it was like Shayna Baszler taking Tommaso Ciampa's spot and somebody else on the Raw roster, I don't remember who, taking Ricochet's spot there. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Rey Mysterio is not going to be at Money in the Bank. He still very well could be. And WWE, I think, would want Rey Mysterio in that type of match, being that he just got moved to Monday Night Raw, and he is one of the bigger names on Monday Night Raw. So, I don't know what's going on with that. I guess we'll see tonight, but now you guys got, in the same podcast, the past report and the most up-to-date latest information on the men's leaked Money in the Bank advertisement. So, there you go. We'll find out tonight on Monday Night Raw. Luke Harper was denied a request for release from WWE. Man, oh man, this is fucking bullshit. Now, we all know Luke Harper requested his release from the WWE after his in-ring return during WrestleMania weekend. He was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He was at WWE Access, the Worlds Collide event that they did at Access. There was a match where he was in the ring with Dominik Dijakovic, and it was a great match from what I was told. I didn't watch it, but from what I was told from you guys, it was a great match. Now, he did ask for his release a couple of weeks ago. And he did it after a recent airing of SmackDown Live. Immediately after the show was over, he went to Twitter, heartfelt note to the WWE Universe and the fans, asking for his release. I'm going to be asking for my WWE release. He thanked everybody. He thanked the WWE. He thanked the fans. He thanked all his colleagues. Very, very heartfelt. Didn't throw anybody under the bus. Very open and honest. Just out there letter. Luke Harper, on the same evening he requested his release, Alexander Wolf requested his release, that he quit WWE. I don't think he requested his release. I think he just outright quit WWE. But then he turned it around, and WWE clearly didn't want him to go anywhere, so he quit WWE, and then they put him on NXT UK. Now, we all know Luke Harper is a valuable asset if WWE wants to use him. I didn't even really know that he was 39 years old, to be quite honest with you. I did not know he was 39 years old. I thought he was a lot younger. So I'm going to go back to that in just a little bit. But per the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE not only declined Luke Harper his release, but they've also added 6 months to his contract for the time he missed due to his wrist injury. You know what that means. He isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Meltzer says this, and I quote, "He is not going to be released," and they've added 6 months to his contract because they said his contract term ends in November, and they added 6 months to his contract. They froze the 6 months he was out to take time off for a wrist injury and a wrist surgery, so their viewpoint is that he can't leave until just before next year's WrestleMania. End quote. Harper's contract was originally set to expire in November, and the added time means that he can't leave the company until just before WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, Florida. Now, what's interesting to note here is that while Luke Harper's request was denied by the company, at the same time, in the same week, pretty much, Goldust was granted his release without a fucking hiccup. Now, Goldust has been out for months, and he's had knee injuries, but he stayed silent about his position and denied the reports of him leaving when they came out. It is unknown if his contract was up or if he had time left. We went over that. At that point, nobody really gives a shit. Goldust was not adding any value to WWE. But they could have clearly said no to Goldust. Vince wanted to say no to Goldust. Triple H stepped in and said, "There's no reason to keep dead weight, I'm assuming, on the roster if we're not going to use him. Let him go." Now, Luke Harper, on the other hand, this is a situation where he went public with it because I believe, and if I was a betting man, I would put money on this, Luke Harper went public with his quote-unquote desire to be released, just like Hideo Itami did, just like Ty Dillinger did, just like Alexander Wolf did. But Alexander Wolf, he got lucky. They moved him to NXT UK. I'm sure that makes him very happy. Ty Dillinger, they let him go. They let him go. 90 days, you sit home, you don't make a fucking peep, you can't do anything anywhere else. He got what he wanted. Ultimately, he got what he wanted. Hideo Itami, same thing. No value in Hideo Itami. Now, in both of their situations, yeah, they were released. They got 90 days to sit home and do nothing before they compete for another company. But in their situations, both of them were hurt. Both of them were hurt. Ty Dillinger was out for more than 6 months. He was out for the last remaining months. He was out for the last fourth of 2018. And then he came back, I don't know when, I believe right before WrestleMania. He started to make appearances again. He started to do house shows again. He started tweeting that he was back. He was excited to be back. Had to be about 6-7 months that he was out. Hideo Itami, the same thing. Hideo Itami had 18 months on the shelf with 2 surgeries. WWE didn't even bat an eyelash at freezing their contracts and adding all of that injured time to those guys' contracts and saying no to their release. WWE said, you want to go? Just sit home for 90 days and goodbye, you're a free man. So Luke Harper did the same thing. He went out to social media. He did a very public and heartfelt statement. WWE said, you ain't going anywhere. You ain't going anywhere. And you were out 6 months on top of your existing deal. You are with us until next year. So I see this as WWE saying fuck you to Luke Harper. And they use Luke Harper as an example for everybody else that wants to do this little stunt on social media. You're so happy? You better think about what you're doing. Because I don't think I don't know if Luke Harper realized that he was hurt and that WWE could add that time onto his contract. It's in their binding contract. It is in their contract. And it states that if you're out for up to 6 weeks or more, WWE has every given right to suspend you, terminate you, or add all of that existing time off to your contract. So they use this guy as a fucking example. No question. They use this guy as an example for everybody else that's unhappy. You want to exit your release? You want to go to social media to make us look like the bad guy? You want to go to social media to make it seem like it's an easier way for you to get out of your contract? No. You ain't doing that with us. And you were out for 6 months. Go fuck yourself. Sit in the corner like a good little bitch and wait out your remaining 1 year now with WWE. That's a pretty demonic fucking move to do. That's a fucking evil move by WWE. And Luke Harper is almost 40 years old. He's 39 years old. I told you I was going to get back to this little fact. 39 years old. I thought he was a lot younger. I really did. How do you feel if you're Luke Harper, that you're 39 years old and you got to wait another year in WWE to go and do what you want? You're getting older. This is a business in which, the life expectancy, the career expectancy in pro wrestling is not long at all. The window for opportunity, is great in pro wrestling right now with the emergence of AEW and the independent scene. But as you get older, that is going to hinder what you could physically do in a professional wrestling ring. Luke Harper, he would love to go out there and achieve what he feels he could be achieving. And WWE is saying, no, fuck you, sit in catering, we got nothing for you, we just don't want you to go anywhere else and lend your talents to another company, aka competition. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Now, where you can compare Luke Harper and Ty Dillinger and Hideo Itami, there really isn't much outside of the contract comparisons. WWE obviously picks and chooses who they want to let go. They let Ty Dillinger and Hideo Itami go because they found no value in any of them. Ty Dillinger was a proverbial jobber on SmackDown Live. Hideo Itami never got any traction after those 2 injuries. They tried to find a spot for him. Nothing ever worked. He gave it a shot. He came on in. It didn't work. He's going back home. Luke Harper, I honestly feel if WWE is so adamant about not letting him go and doing this to him, I would like to assume that they find some value in his talent. Now, I don't know if WWE is going to push him on television. I mean, they should. He's a fucking healthy guy. He can obviously add to your show and your mid-card. Why the fuck not? I am assuming that if WWE is so adamant on keeping him, they clearly find value in him. And I feel, and this is definitely the case, on top of everything else that I said, WWE doesn't want to release all these individuals. Clearly, they find more value in Harper than they did Ty Dillinger and Hideo Itami. They don't give a fuck about where they go, because they're not make or break guys. Neither is Luke Harper. He was in the main event, somewhat. He was in the main event with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. He was in a possible WWE Championship title situation with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. He should have been in that match at WrestleMania. That fucking god-awful match with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt would have made the match so much better. He was in the middle of that Wyatt family Shield nonsense that was pretty much carrying Monday Night Raw in 2014. Yeah, Luke Harper in the IC title situation with Dolph Ziggler. He's been in some decent fucking moments. Never a big main event guy, never a big make or break guy, never a guy that is going to carry a show. But clearly they find some value in him to not let him go. WWE doesn't want to give this perception that everybody wants to leave to go to AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan. They want WWE to be this place where it's all sunshine and rainbows. You want to come here because it's the biggest promotion in the world. They also don't want to let Luke Harper go to an AEW or a Ring of Honor or a New Japan and be treated better and look better creatively and have and find more success somewhere else than he did in WWE, which you know is going to be the fucking case anyway when they let this guy go or when he walks. WWE doesn't want this guy to go anywhere else because if he goes somewhere else and is better off, it's going to make WWE look like a bunch of fucking assholes, and they will feel and they will look to everybody like creative failures. It's the same thing with everybody else. Now, it's not going to be on the scale of a Luke Harper with a Ty Dillinger or Hideo Itami, but if Luke Harper goes anywhere else, he could be an upper echelon main event type guy. They don't want him to do that because then it makes them look like fucking failures. How many times have I used that word with WWE? They are failures. Creatively, they are garbage. WWE doesn't want to give off that perception that they are garbage. So they're keeping Luke Harper for another year. I can only hope that they're using this as a situation where they find value in him. They don't want to let him go. They're keeping him because they want him. And I know I might be talking out my ass, but they're simply keeping him because they don't want him going anywhere else. And the fact that they went out of their way to do this is a punishment, teaching him a lesson, using him as an example, and they're keeping him as he gets a year older from going anywhere else because they don't want any other company to flourish and be added to with their former talent. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. And I truly hope people watching me and listening to me understand why AEW and the emergence of AEW is so important to the landscape of WWE. And, well, not the landscape. Well, it is important to the landscape of WWE, but it's important to the landscape of professional wrestling. You know, too many people are quick out there in the pro wrestling landscape to want to jump to WWE as if it's going to be this unbelievable ride. You know, it's, oh my God, I'm going to WWE. You all know what is awaiting you at some point in your career. You could be the most talented guy in the world. WWE will not allow you to achieve the heights in which you dream of every single day. You will be stifled along the way. And I'm not talking about NXT. I'm talking about when Vince McMahon and his cronies gets a hold of you. And I feel with the emergence of AEW, this is a good thing. And I don't understand why people want it to fail. You like to see guys like Luke Harper be held captive. I want this to be used as an example for everybody in the community. AEW is going to be another viable option in which a guy like Luke Harper or a guy like Ty Dillinger doesn't need to sign with the WWE, that they have options to go somewhere else. They have options to be treated better and fairly and make just as much money as if they did go to WWE. This is a good thing. This is a great thing for everybody in the industry. And Luke Harper being made an example out of in this situation is fucking disgusting. The guy's creatively unhappy. And WWE is saying, you know, yeah, you're great, but you're going to remain with us. We don't want you to take your talents anywhere else because fuck you. It's absolutely, it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing. I don't know if this guy's going to be sitting at home. I don't know if they got plans for him. I don't know if they're going to job him out. This might not be the end of them teaching him a lesson. That's the fucking sad part of it. Unreal. It is disgusting. Now, on the flip side of it, Mike Johnson reported on PW Insider Elite, and this was before the Luke Harper situation. He was denied his release and had his injury time added to his contract. This was before all of that came out. Mike Johnson said on PW Insider Elite, and I quote, "If they do release Harper, again, this was before the Harper news, it'll be like, you don't matter if you go somewhere else, and it's not going to hurt our bottom line. That's how they look at it. Clearly, they don't look at it like that, because if they didn't find any value in Luke Harper, then they would have let him go. Clearly, they find some value in him. Or is it the case where they don't want to be a feeder system for AEW? I don't think Luke Harper's going to hurt anybody's bottom line. It's just WWE doing it because they can. Johnson went on to say that he doesn't get the impression that there is any fear that AEW will hurt WWE, even if they're elite superstars who could end up with the Elite's new company. This is interesting because Triple H threw some massive shots at AEW during the Hall of Fame, calling them a quote-unquote piss ant company. Now, of course, WWE was quick to edit that out of all their replays of the Hall of Fame, and I looked at it as free pub for all Elite Wrestling. Moving on from this story, man, enough of AEW, enough of who's going to sign with AEW and who's going over there as far as talent goes. We all know why WWE does what they do, and if you think that AEW is not competition to the WWE, every move that the WWE makes tells you otherwise. I wish I could tell you otherwise on the Saudi Arabia event coming up in June. Now, with WWE, they were actually thinking about canceling Backlash. In fact, Backlash was canceled because of the Saudi Arabia event. And I was, holy shit, someone in WWE actually has a fucking brain. Because the Saudi Arabia show was dangerously close to when Backlash was taking place. Now, it appears the plans have changed in WWE once again, as they are now altering their touring schedule in a big way for the next Saudi Arabia show. After all, the country is bringing in a ton of money for the company, so it's worth all the trouble in WWE's eyes. Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Live that WWE has now switched dates around. The event was previously in San Diego, Backlash, and now it's going to be a house show. But Backlash is on once again. So let me go through this time frame. WWE canceled Backlash. They were going to make it a house show in San Diego. Now, Backlash is back on the WWE pay-per-view calendar. He says this, and I quote, "They just had to create a new event on the calendar for it. It's not 100% as of this moment that June 7th will be in Saudi Arabia, but they are going with the idea that they will be. It's a high percentage, sure, because now they're making moves. They have not canceled any of the domestic shows that weekend, but like Oakland and Stockton have not been canceled. Denver and Salt Lake City, which would be the weekend of that pay-per-view, have been moved back a week, so they've been moved. So they have done that. The San Diego pay-per-view, which was Backlash for June 16th, is now a house show. They didn't want to. I guess the idea is they didn't want to do two pay-per-views in a row, 2 weekends in a row. That would have been June 7th and June 16th. So they moved the Backlash pay-per-view to the 23rd, and they're booking it in Tacoma on the 23rd in San Diego, getting a house show, end quote. We'll have to wait and see what WWE does as far as the full schedule when we get closer to the events. They are obviously getting close to nailing a date down for Saudi Arabia as the company is moving things around. And I think this is a terrible mistake. I really do. They would have been better off just canceling the fucking show and leaving the calendar open so that this Saudi show could legitimately feel like a fucking pay-per-view. They didn't do that. Now they're going to fuck the Saudi show up, and they're going to fuck up Backlash. Because now they have to do, on weekly shows, on Raw and SmackDown, they got to build for 2 shows at the same fucking time. And you know, when WWE goes into those modes, nothing is going to feel important. But I guess you got to make your money. You got to abide by the contract. You got to make the Saudi government and the Saudi prince happy. It's disgusting. So, not only with that, June 7th. June 8th is a takeover event, standalone, in San Jose. Triple H is a part of TakeOver, right? He's the man behind the machine in TakeOver, or NXT. And you know Triple H is more than likely going to be in Saudi Arabia. Who knows if he's going to have a match? I don't know. Depending on what we've seen the last couple of shows, he probably will. So I don't know if that means TakeOver is going to be pushed back. Maybe it gets pushed back to the Backlash weekend. Because there's no way, if Triple H is going to be in Saudi Arabia, there's no way he's making that Saudi trip and then flying all the way to San Jose to be a TakeOver. Not happening. So not only is the Saudi show affecting the WWE pay-per-view calendar, now that they got to book 2 shows at the same fucking time, but it's also fucking up TakeOver as well for travel reasons. I don't know what is going on with WWE, but hopefully they figure this shit out and things make sense and they don't feel convoluted by the time we get to June. Because right now I am already dreading the fact that WWE has all these events in June and nothing is going to feel important. It's gonna feel more like a chore than anything to sit through these fucking shows weekly and then watch these pay-per-views that absolutely have no meaning whatsoever. Sasha Banks. We'll end with Sasha Banks. There's a few stories on Sasha Banks here. We talked about the Tony Atlas situation. Sasha Banks' situation with WWE is reportedly at a stalemate. Some people were even saying the Money in the Bank leak for the women's participants was false as well because nobody really knows what Sasha Banks is doing. Dave Meltzer expanded on this situation during the Wrestling Observer Live where he said things have not gotten any better with Sasha Banks. If anything, it might get pretty dirty soon enough if Banks and WWE's relationship continues to be a stalemate and the company won't let her go. They could just keep extending her deal to never allow her to have a real exit. He says, and I quote, Sasha Banks, the situation is unchanged. They are right now at a stalemate, and the word, of course, you know how this goes. The word is, if she wants to sit out the remainder of her contract, she could sit out the remainder of her contract. Of course, if you know what that means, she's going to be sitting out forever because they're not going to let her go, and they're going to add time to her contract for not working. So this makes everything very, very difficult. So I don't know what's going on. I haven't heard anything new as far as Sasha Banks goes. And the company is allowed to extend these contracts for missed time, including injuries, or in Sasha Banks' instance, her just wanting to quit. So WWE wants Banks to come back, but Meltzer noted that if she isn't announced for Money in the Bank next week, then I'm going to assume she's off the pay-per-view. Sasha Banks' WWE hiatus might not be voluntary. Mike Johnson, on top of Meltzer's report, actually said this on PW Insider Elite Audio. He says, and I quote, whether she was sent home or decided to go home under her own accord, that story has changed based on the person I have spoken to, and the company is basically going to let her cool off and bring her back as long as she wants to come back. She's still under contract. She can't walk out. She could ask for her release. It doesn't mean that she's going to get one, but it's still up in the air in terms of where she'll be when she returns. End quote. Nothing has changed. So, WWE, Sasha Banks, depending on who you talk to, says Mike Johnson, she walked out on her own, or WWE sent her home and gave her the opportunity to cool off. And now she doesn't want to come back. We don't know the story. We don't know the story whatsoever. But we all know that Sasha Banks is not a popular figure in the WWE locker room. Mike Johnson actually also talked about this on PW Insider Elite Audio. He says this, and I quote, there is a reason why she is so unpopular in the locker room at times. The general consensus of numerous people I have spoken to the company wasn't thrilled about her and Bayley being split up. And she was even less thrilled about losing the tag team titles. Now you see why, really, that they should have had a longer run to establish those titles, and instead of kind of keeping it to herself, she probably made it too obvious, which allowed anybody who didn't like her or politically wasn't a fan to use that against her. That led to her kind of taking a quote-unquote sabbatical. Sasha Banks is a crucial part of the women's revolution, like I mentioned in the beginning of this show. We'll see tonight. If Sasha Banks is announced for Money in the Bank, then clearly WWE has reached out to her and she's reached out to WWE saying that she's coming back. Maybe plans are made legitimately to give her the Money in the Bank briefcase, but if she's not announced, then she's not coming back. She won't be at Money in the Bank. And that will even fuel all the speculation that already has been reported on Sasha Banks' whereabouts and Sasha Banks' future. It's going to be one big fucking clusterfuck if Sasha Banks isn't announced for Money in the Bank tonight on Monday Night Raw. So we'll see. But I know I'm tired of talking about it. It's in the news everywhere. I have no choice but to talk about it to make sure you guys are up to date on everything and keep you guys in the loop. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Man. But that is all I got for the weekend. Again, I'm sorry I didn't get this up on Sunday, but I recorded some on Sunday. I really wasn't feeling all that well on Sunday. And I figured, you know what? Got most of it recorded on Sunday, and I'll just push out the rest on Monday, and boom, you guys got something before Monday Night Raw, which should work out in the end anyway. So thank you guys so very much for all of your support on Off the Script. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so very much. Follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys want to support on the Patreon page, completely optional. Only way to get exclusive content, not available on YouTube. JD's Elite. Link for the t-shirt down in the description below. Harrys.com/script. Audibletrial.com/offthescript. Thank you guys for supporting my sponsors. And this week's videos, man. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, Off the Script Extra featuring CM Punk. Off the Script this weekend, talking about everything in the world of WWE. Everything you need is right there on the channel. We talk about Bray Wyatt, and we talk about Becky Lynch. Could be Becky no belts at the end of Money in the Bank, and why WWE is doing wrong by Becky Lynch, man. Thank you guys so very much for all your support. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you all tonight for Monday Night Raw. Until then, take care, have a great day, and I'll see you tonight for what I'm sure will be another boring edition of Monday Night Raw. I'll see you guys then.